Holy cow. Yes, go ahead.
Mom's not happy.
Anybody that has an empty seat beside them, please raise your hand so we can get some of these other people down with seats. So if you got an empty seat or two, raise your hand, please. Thank you.
I don't know. I think it's Richard. You had a plan. Right here.
Hey, Nick. How you doing, Hey, buddy.
I did briefly. I think from there, I don't
Yes, I did this morning.
I did.
Yes.
Wow. Well, no, I don't. Where is our
Yeah.
So you didn't help slow. You didn't help line up those two. I'll try to eat that.
Good luck with next year.
Yeah. Okay, so okay.
Now you're cool.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Here, darling. You look the same. Recognize you anywhere. Great.
That comes to work, my brother in the community. So. Wow, this is amazing.
I wish you would decided. I know. Who are we going to pay?
It kills me. Yeah. So how's Miss Peggy? She's on.
She's good. She's in receive her visa.
Oh, good.
Take that chair beside you.
No, your IT people need that.
I'm the IT guy. Good.
Well, then you need it.
I'll get it on chair.
Yeah, I'll find a gentleman and gave one to the lady.
Yes, sir. I'll get you one.
Hey, David, how are you?
Sir, are you the cameraman?
Yeah.
Good to see you.
It's my side guy.
Sir?
Yeah.
As long as it's well,
Thank you. There's I was chair with
Good to see you, Dave.
Oh, he's off. Oh, if I'm there, I want to get that on the seat.
I know you got 1,000 things to do. How are you doing? But Ernie paused asking me to make sure that you let her know when the closed. Okay, is that possible? I asked. Does Rosemary have one? No, but I can give it to you. Is It's tomorrow. You want me to check something up? You got it right there. It's 575. 693.
Hello.
That's pretty cost. KOS. Thank you.
So it's a happy time for Tucumcari. Did we get a head count, Mr. Frost?
No, sir, but there's gotta be 10,000 people.
Fact-finding meeting. I'd like to introduce our commissioners.
Can't hear you.
We're here talking about Ken Carraza. I'm Ray Willis. Gayla McCullough to my left. With Jerry Cosper. We'd like to recognize some of these esteemed guests. Village of Logan over here, City of Tucumcari, Quake County, the Village of Logan. And then you pick. Send home. Okay. Send home. San Home is always one of my favorite places. You raise some good people there. Woo! Anytime you'd like to briefly address the commission, you have the floor. But we need you to go to the mic up here so the reporter can get it.
Mr. Chairman, we've got this all worked out. So we're going to give them a chance a little bit if that's okay with you.
Okay, other than that, we'll turn it over to Mr. Warren Frost and Coronado Partners. They can do their deal.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. It was a joke. I said 10,000. I've only got 7,500 here. I'm Warren Frost. Welcome to Tucumcari in Clay County. The only thing I want to do is remind everybody, turn off your cell phones, please. Everybody turn off your cell phone. It's my pleasure to identify and recognize Tucumcari's Mayor, Ruth Ann Litchfield.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Ruth Ann Litchfield, and I am the mayor. And it's a great pleasure that I've gotten to meet each one of you today. Welcome to our town, Mr. Willis, Ms. Gayla McCullough, Mr. Leonard Block, Mr. Jerry Cosper, Mr. Ken Carrazza. We are so happy to have you here today, and I hope you've had an enjoyable day so far. You got to eat some of the best barbecue in the state of New Mexico. They were ranked 13th in the nation, so you've got some good food. I know all of our leaders here in Clay County have enjoyed visiting with you. I am so humbled and would like to also welcome this wonderful crowd. Thank you. I appreciate their support so much, you'll never know. Thank you to Warren Frost for all he's done too. Thank you again for coming and listening to us today, and we hope you have had a good day so far.
You know, there's a kind of a small group of us that have been working on this for about 12 years now. We like to take things slow in Clay County and not get too ahead of ourselves. So anyway, one of the people that has been here from the beginning is Diane Chalmers, and I'd like to introduce her, please.
I'm Diane Chalmers. My late husband, Don Chalmers, worked tirelessly for about 25 years of his life promoting economic development in New Mexico. This effort led him to getting involved in the dream of bringing economic development to Clay County in the form of a racetrack and casino in Tucumcari. And I see now what you'd like to do. He was so excited about the possibility of them having the casino in Tucumcari. So that included his efforts, racing applications in 2008 and 11, and looking forward to today when he could once again argue and cheer the benefits of a New Mexico horse racing in Tucumcari, New Mexico. Unfortunately, as we know, Don lost his battle with cancer in April of 2014. So he can't be here, but I know he's here in spirit, and he's proud of this community and its support for this project. So I am proud today to be able to introduce Tom Harmon, who has picked up where Don left off. Like Don, Tom has committed himself to economic development in New Mexico and believes in Tucumcari and Clay County. Tom is great in business and a family man, and has the honesty and integrity to make this a successful project. I really, really urge you to bring racing to Tucumcari.
Thanks, Diane. For those that knew Don, he was a real pillar of the business community in New Mexico. He was a philanthropist, he was a family man, and I'm sure the world is a little worse off for his departure. So when Larry and Warren talked to me about this project, I really saw it as an economic development project and a horse racing or sports entertainment project. So these both were appealing to me. Not only as fun, exciting, and profitable, but also an opportunity to be involved with meaningful economic development. I won't bother you with details, but like Don, I believe I have a proven track record. building business, enhancing, and giving back to communities where I'm involved. More than 20 years ago, I came to New Mexico from Colorado. I bought a little store in Roswell, New Mexico, and it was doing about $1.5 million in total sales. Last year, we did over 250 million in sales. We've given back to our community. We've enhanced 2nd Street in Roswell. We've built new buildings. We've continued to grow. So we're one of the larger employers in southeast New Mexico. We have payrolls that are larger than most, except for any of the federal or the state government. We've always been about opportunity. And I see this project as opportunity for lots of people. The people of Tucumcari. When we first started in New Mexico, I addressed the few people that we started with at Roswell Toyota. And my statement to them was, if I'm the only guy that makes enough money to walk the beaches of the world, what a shallow victory that would be. And today I keep a log of all the people that I've walked the beaches with. And there's a lot of you to walk the beaches with. I mean, I think it's that big of an opportunity. So with that size comes responsibility and giving back to the community, the region, the state. So it's hard for me to stand here and tell you some of the things we did. I think that's very self-serving, but I do want to let the commission know and let you know that, anybody that needed anything in Roswell, we were one of the first stops. From United Way, the Jazz Festival, balloon rallies, the Roswell Symphony, all the schools, any other youth, anything that had to do with youth or youth education, any of the youth sponsorships, any of the victims of tragedies around there. We picked up a lot of balances of layaway plans at Christmas time, anonymously. We're big supporters of Roswell and Carlsbad Chamber of Commerce. So those are the places that I have business. And I just think that we owe it to the communities that we make the money in to give back to those communities. We have a few sayings in our business that I believe we will bring to the Tucumcari area, to the racetrack. We say we don't always do it right, but we always make it right. We also say it's not, when somebody comes in, they're upset or something, it's not my fault, but it is my problem. So we all have to take care of that. That's not a business plan, but that's a culture. And if we can develop that culture here, which we already have that culture. I'm a horse racing fan, not that I'm this big horse racer. My involvement with horse racing was when my kids were small. We had 3 horses. They got thrown a few times, and the horses went by the wayside. They didn't crawl back on, like many of you did. Also bought 3 race horses when there was a Pikes Peak racetrack outside of Colorado Springs. First race that I attended, one of the horses that I bought had all 4 legs in little buckets of jacuzzis, and one horse was laying down, and that was about the end of my horse racing experience. I gave them back to the guy I bought them from. Stop the vet bills, stop the feed bills, and I'm okay with all that. So I think Coronado Park can be a big boom to this part of the state. We have opportunity to bring untapped, enthusiastic horse racing customers based from Texas. These are Texas dollars brought here to New Mexico to spend in New Mexico and promoted by private business to get them here. We have opportunity to be a regional entertainment destination, a go-to place. We have a draw of more than 100 miles. We can complement and expand existing tourism base for the Tucumcari area. And what a great tourism that Tucumcari already has. I mean, Route 66, I thought the aliens were the big draw in New Mexico, right? But Route 66, well, I'm telling you, people come from all over the world. It's a destination that will not only offer the state's best horse racing product, but additional options that include the casino, restaurants, bars, and amenities, such as concerts, equestrian center, and other events. We have all the facilities and the land area to accommodate them. And I think that it will, just the economic impact, I think, is endless. Those dollars that are spent here, the existing businesses, the closed real estate that I see in Tucumcari, I think I see that all thriving again once those dollars start showing up here. With these operations, we have best opportunity to maximize benefit to the state of New Mexico. We will show that our project offers the highest new net income and revenue to the state. Since we don't compete with existing tracks and casinos, and most of our customers will come from Texas. I'll show some of those attributes a little later. We will not cannibalize the existing dollars to New Mexico with the racetrack in Tucumcari. We also have broad support of our project here in Tucumcari and throughout this part of the state. We'll also show some of those attributes. My car business depends on a lot of my management team. For this project, we have an impressive group of management, finance, operations, Coronado Park in a manner that will make a destination showcase. In our car business, we say, is your dealership market driven or is it management driven? Because if it's management driven, it doesn't matter what the market is. You got good people and good managers, we're going to make it happen. And you look in this room, it's unbelievable. So you've heard of most of these individuals probably that we're going to introduce New Mexico and throughout the United States. So I'd like some of our project team to introduce themselves briefly. We have representatives from our architect, construction, finance, and economic impact. So at this time, I'd like to start with Brad Friedman.
It's in, we won!
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, and good afternoon to all of you fine people. My name is Brad Friedmutter. I'm the founder and CEO of the Friedmutter Group. We're an architectural and interior design firm that specializes in these types of entertainment centers, sometimes with casino components. We do work all around the country, all around the United States, where these types of facilities are licensed. We also do work internationally. So what that means for Tucumcari is the experience that we have over the years, as well as the current trends of where these types of facilities are going, will benefit the project that we're designing right here. Up on the screen, you can see that we're a technology-based and talent-based firm. We produce all of our drawings with the latest computer-aided technology. We also do beautiful hand renderings. We have the next slide, please. Some of our past work include the Beef Leva Hotel and Casino. Next one. Twin Arrows. Churchill Downs. So in the mansion, which is their VIP suites at the mansion. Years ago at Dover Downs, Parks Casino, Pennsylvania. And in Las Vegas area, which is where my wife and I are based, we do work with Station Casinos, the Red Rock Casino. And we have also done a preliminary design down in Peru, in South America, for a casino that was going into a racetrack. So we have experience in all of these areas, as especially in terms of today, where more emphasis is put on the non-gaming amenities, the entertainment factor, the gathering. And so very, very excited to be here. I was here 10 years ago in this very spot. So for those of you that were here then, hello again. And for those that weren't, it's all nice to meet you. Thank you. I'm going
Good afternoon, Commissioners and Chairman. First of all, I'll tell you this group, we're very fortunate to have Brad and his firm bringing back a level of expertise from a really national and international level. So this is going to be a really phenomenal facility for its intended purpose. Now, on a more local level, I'm the president of HB Construction. I'll be the general contractor on it. We're also representing our local design partner, Comparative 17. Let's go to the next slide real quick. So Comparative 17 is the largest architecture firm in New Mexico. Office out of Albuquerque, but also resources in Amarillo. So very multidisciplinary, as you can see in the middle. So those resources will be in-house in New Mexico more than likely. Really working side by side with Brad, his team, Warren, his team, etc. So a very qualified firm. As a matter of fact, if we go to the next slide, please. So one of the more recent renovations of a very similar product. Many of you might recognize this. So this is the Downs in Albuquerque. Let's go to the next one. Also, City of Albuquerque Convention Center. This was just recently completed. And then we get into more gaming scenarios. So San Diego Casino, and next being the Pueblo of Tucumcari. This is under construction now. So very heavy on the gaming side. Obviously, the first one very heavy on the racino side. So locally, we certainly have the expertise to be able to accomplish this with the local talent, the local firms, local executives, et cetera, et cetera. So we're very proud for this opportunity. Now, with respect to my company, HB Construction, we're one of the largest general contractors in New Mexico. We are out of Albuquerque. We also have an office in Lubbock, in Hobbs, and south in Las Cruces. What I'm very proud of is the fact that I see the individuals in this room here, and I think one of the big challenges is going to be staffing the talent that will be swinging those hammers, the men and women doing that work. And we've really been very successful and fortunate, blessed to have the opportunity to work in small communities around New Mexico, eastern New Mexico, northern New Mexico, et cetera. So this is a great opportunity where we see there will be somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,000+ jobs, construction jobs, that will come from this project. I expect to see us have at least half of that come from the local community. And looking out, I think we have a lot of candidates right now. So that is something we very much look forward to. Tom had talked about the community impact. This is a great opportunity. We're spending a significant amount of money for us to also impact the community at large as well. If we go to the next slide, a couple of more recent projects from our firm. This is the Santa Clara Casino. Again, gaming, on the casino side. Next slide, please. One more. This is a project with Comparative 17, so about 50% of our work right now is with our local architecture partner, Comparative 17. So we look forward to continuing that relationship. Next, just south of here, the Eunice Athletic Complex. Just for fun, the Bible has nothing to do with gaming, guys, but this was a fun project. So, anyways, with that said, I appreciate you, our team appreciates you being here, so thank you. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Alex at Innovation.
Good afternoon, all. Welcome. And my name is Alex Wang, and I'm with the firm Innovation Capital. We are a boutique investment bank that specializes in raising capital for the casino industry. And that industry includes racetracks, commercial casinos, Native American casinos, gaming equipment companies, anything in the gaming gambling space. One thing I'd like to highlight is, we've been in business for 14 years. And since then, we've been able to complete 100 deals, which aggregate over $6.8 billion in volume. And one thing I'd like to highlight as well is, while we're a boutique firm, there's only 7 of us, we have specific experience in financing for racetrack scenario. Next slide, please. You can see here that these are a lot of tombstones. It's very small to read, but we have worked on 16 transactions, aggregating over $1.3 billion in financing raised for these projects. Where of these 16 transactions, 8 were specifically for racetracks, where we raised over $300 million. Next slide, please. And here we'd like to highlight the projects we've done for greenfield projects. If you're not familiar with the term greenfield, it's similar to what Coronado Park is. It's pretty much a project where we build from scratch, from the ground up. So we've worked on 17 deals of this nature, and one project I'd like to highlight is Tiger Downs. That was a racetrack in upstate New York, where they're just a racetrack, and they recently had a racing license approved and won, and they need money to become a casino, some job at Coronado Park is what it become. And so we were able to successfully raise $90 million from them, which enabled them to become a regional destination casino resort, which helped not only the community, but also the racing industry as well in that area of New York. And other projects we worked on include, we helped finance the Rhythm City project in Quad Cities, Iowa, Casino Miami down in Miami, the Snoqualmie Casino in Seattle. So we have a lot of experience, and we believe that Coronado Park is one that can readily financeable. With that, I'd like to introduce Dr. Chris from New Mexico State University.
Thanks for letting me come and speak for you, and I have to acknowledge the crowd. Thanks to everyone for coming. I said this may be the biggest crowd I've ever spoken in front of, so I'm despite my many years of speaking, I'm a little bit nervous, so I apologize. So I'm Chris Erickson. I'm a professor at New Mexico State University. I've been at New Mexico State University for 31 years. I'm currently the acting department head in the Department of Economics. During my time at New Mexico State University, I have specialized in work on the New Mexico economy, on the border economy. I've also done research in economic development. I currently teach in the department's graduate program in economic development. I used to be the editor of a newsletter that focused on the New Mexico economy, particularly on issues in southern New Mexico, and that was used by the Dallas Federal Reserve as part of their preparation when they do what's called the Beige Book, which is a discussion of local economic conditions within the Dallas district. I have a number of research publications in the area of economic development, including academic articles that relate specifically to New Mexico. Next slide, please. I'm currently an associate of Arrowhead Center. That's a wholly owned corporation of the New Mexico State University. And this is an organization that's involved in promoting economic development. And it does, at the request of the private sector individuals, or sometimes it's also government entities, it does economic impact studies similar to the one that I'll be presenting here later on this afternoon. I've done a number of economic impact studies, including one for Zia Park, one for Ruidoso Downs, one for the infamous potential casino in Anthony. And then also I've worked on White Sands. Then I did work for the BRAC Commission a few years ago. It was, among other things, that my report was used to help save the base in Hobbs. And so I've had quite a bit of experience working in New Mexico on economic impact studies. And so with that, I will turn it over to Tom. Thank you very much for your time.
Well, we'll start in on our project description. At this time, I'd like to introduce David Vance.
Thank you, Tom. I'm the racing guy. Proud of it. Proud to be part of this team representing this great community. We have a very special presentation I think you'll enjoy, learn more about it. My colleagues tell me at this point I'm supposed to talk about my background and who I am. And I told my wife that Seymour was self-serving. And she said, David, it's no time to be humble. So I'm gonna give you the whole spiel. I have been president of Turfway Park in Kentucky, Louisiana Downs, Thistledown in Cleveland, and of course, built Remington Park. I was on the board of trustees of the New York Racing Association. I'm a New Yorker in the history of the association. And I was president of the TRA. I was chairman of the American Championship Racing Series on ABC television. But I think the thing that I'm proudest of is the fact that 12 people who worked for me at one time have gone on to run their own racetracks. And that means a great deal to me. And that doesn't include the people that we described in TRA, all part of that same team, and the government, who a lot of you know, remember as president of Rio Doso. So that's enough about me, and I'd like to tell you more about the project. Can I hear you? All right, here we go. This is our project. And it says regional draw, and there are certain things for me that got my attention for who I am and what I do. And one of the things that really jumped out is the fact that we're 175 miles away from any other gaming facility. What that means is we're not going to hurt anybody, and nobody's going to hurt us. We're going to be able to realize the potential with no diminishing returns. I'll touch briefly on the live racing. We've asked for 40 days. I feel like that's a good number, and I understand that the situation with the other racetracks is a sixth license, but we tried to position ourselves as best we could not to interfere with the other tracks. There is going to be overlap, it's inevitable, but we'll work with the other tracks to make sure, as well as the commission, that that's not a problem. Customer service happens to be an area that I have a special interest in, and it's something that I focused on at Remington Park. You'll hear me talk a lot about Remington Park today, and I apologize, but that's my point of reference. That's who I am. And at Remington Park, we created something called Remington Friendly. It was a thumbs up culture. Sounds corny, but it works. It gets people together to walk lockstep toward a shared goal. And at Remington Park, we did that. That's why I was trying to some people were willing to run that racetrack. I wanted Remington Park, and I want Coronado Park to have a personality. I want it to smile, because that's what we do. We're in the entertainment business. I tell our employees, welcome to the party. Having trouble? How's it? Is it better? Must be bad. I apologize. I'm a soft-spoken guy. But anyway, that thumbs up culture is what works and what grows a company like ours. One thing you'll find is that we'll be very active and aggressive in group sales. This area lends itself to that very thing because of the many surrounding communities, as well as Amarillo and any place else that we can attract people. Remington did $1 million in group sales 2 years ago, so the interest level is there. Another thing we'll be active in is social media. But it's the future. It's the millennials that we see, as we all know, need more young people coming back, and social media is the best way to accomplish that. And I have a secret weapon and the fact that my wife is the director of social media at both Remington Park and Lone Star Park in Dallas, and she's had tremendous success with it. One of the things I did when I first started looking at Tucumcari, and my knee jerk was that, well, maybe that's not a big enough market. I talked to a gentleman who, by the way, was part of our team at Remington Park. Tom Persicino was vice president of the AQHA. And I asked Tom about the interest levels in quarter horse racing in this area. He explained, after a week of doing some research for me, that from Amarillo west through 31 counties to the state line and the 8 counties on to Tucumcari, that there were 87,000 registered quarter horses. And that just blew my mind. I mean, that just tells me. And we did market research at Remington, and it told us that people who like horses, you might have one in your pasture or backyard, but you like horse racing as a result of that. We know that, and we did intercept interviews for 2 years every day to identify the demographic profile of our customers. And there were so many people that were in racing breeds, but they came to the races. And that's a good thing, and that's going to happen here. The other thing that I want to look at, the 337 acres, I was excited when I found out Warren been buying up the county. But that sets us up for expansion and to do some of the things that we're going to be doing, and I'll tell you about, that I think are really exciting in the overall mix of who we are. The 337 acres allows us to add, and I'll tell you, amphitheater and a lot of things like that coming up. But the thing that appealed to me the most was the fact that we are bordered on the north by the iconic Route 66. Tom's already alluded to it, but from Chicago through the Cadillac Ranch, through Tucumcari, through the Painted Desert and onto the Santa Monica Pier, it's Route 66. Paul McCartney is. Paul McCartney of the Beatles team did that very trip. Loved it. 250 sites on the National Registry of Historic Places. And then what this is starting to evolve, in my view, is a wonderful tourism opportunity. And the beauty of being isolated like this and having this kind of situation is that we can grow together in what we want to accomplish. Not alone Route 66, but bordered on the south by an interstate highway. And that's hard. I-40 is one of the major east-west arteries in this country. So we're going to have tens of thousands of people. What that creates is a perpetual market. And it doesn't dry up. You run in. And these people here will be representing us. And if you stayed at a hotel here in town or driven down Tucumcari Boulevard, you've seen the signage and the enthusiasm, and all you have to do is look in this room, and it's overwhelming. Now we're going to take a closer look at the actual facility, and that's not a drone, but somebody took that picture. But one of the things that got my attention is the development possibilities, because Warren's been able to set up this kind of opportunity. There's also room for a lot of development, new places for businesses, and it's going to grow this entire northeast quadrant of New Mexico. We can go in a little closer now, Kim. This is the racetrack. There are a couple of things on here that you can't see, but Brad's done a marvelous job putting the whole concept together. And one of the things that really appealed to me, anybody that's ever been in racing, you know And I'll confess that Remington Park, our last barn is over here. That means that that's a mile oval. They have to walk all the way around here, come down this track, and then go through into the paddock. And that's not easy. I mean, you've got people that work for you that have to do that. Our stable area is going to be right almost adjacent to the grandstand. And all of the action that goes, the clocker stand, the testing, all of those things are going to occur right there. Plus, what you'll see in a moment, Brad will show you, right in here, we're going to see an amphitheater. A racetrack. I wanted to do this for years. An amphitheater is a natural bowl, and we're going to bring in concerts, country, western, jazz, whatever suits. And again, the mix. And when we found out about the interest in four-horse racing, the one thing that we talked about, and as part of our plan, is to build an equine event center that'll probably be over here because it accommodates a stable area. And an equine event center will attract barrel racing, hunters and jumpers, cutters, team roping, all of those things can happen. Youth rodeos right here in Tucumcari, all part of the tourism package and creating more traffic into the area. Okay, this is, excuse me. This is important to me because of what I've done in my life. One of the things I did at Remington Park was to create the first director of horsemen's relations. And that person was assigned every day to go into the stable area, to walk around, find out what the needs are of the horsemen, and address those needs. She would bring them back every day, and I would distribute the responsibility for addressing those issues. You'd also see her clocker stand in the morning with coffee and donuts, many times with the president carrying the coffee and donuts. But also what she did in the afternoons on Saturdays and Sundays when we had stakes races, she would find out who was in, owner, trainer, breeder, jockey, jock's agent, and she would make sure they had a ribbon every single day. Our employees who worked two departments in guest relations knew to identify that ribbon as a very important person at Remington Park. And we treated them like that, just told them good luck, all the best. It means a lot, and it treats them like the VIPs that they are. As far as the barns are concerned, we struggled with this, different options, different ways, different opinions about the best way to do it. But we're gonna have an enclosed shed row, and primarily because of the weather and the elements, the rain, the wind, not fun, but by enclosing it, we can go to the next slide. This is a Remington Park barn. This has worked famously for 30 years. And I think you could ask any horseman that's raced there that it's a very suitable way to do it. 12 by 12 stalls, 12-foot shed rows so that the activity can be productive. So I'm genuinely excited about this, and a big reason for that, I already alluded to, but is the work that Brad Friedmutter has done. And love the concept. And I'd like to invite Brad up, if he would, to now share with you sort of an overview of the track and what he hopes to accomplish.
There it is. Thank you. Can we go to the next slide? So, in designing these types of entertainment destinations, in addition to the racetrack, is a casino area, along with restaurants, bar, and as was described, outdoor amphitheater. So the idea is There's nothing specific that you come for. You say, let's go to that property, and then we'll see what turns out when we get there. In addition to of course, the design that we're going to bring to the facility is going to be great operations. And we're going to be able to deliver this project to Tucumcari through our partnership, our design partnership with Dale Decker and construction partner Matt with HB Construction. It's that type of collaboration and working with the horse track people and the developers and the owners and the community. That's how we bring these things to fruition. Next slide, please. That's what's called the section. So if you cut a horizontal or a vertical view through, shows the grandstands, shows the track, the suites above, and the podium, which houses the entertainment components of the facility. One of the things that we do very consciously and very well is the tight, concise layout, so people do not have to walk too far. The energy when a place is busy is wonderful. Having the access, multiple access points, provides safe entry to the property, multiple entry off the roadways, also easy navigation once you're in the property, and most importantly, ease of egress out of the property. Next slide. These are some examples of the view, of inside. You can see it's a casual, refined use of wood. So it's warm, and yet it's in a kind of contemporary, modern look. It'll obviously have all of the current and what will be in the future electronic capabilities and technologies. It'll have the most modern, up-to-date life safety features. And so you can see that it's quite a beautiful space. Probably by then, TV monitors will be everywhere, all over the place as they get bigger, thinner, and lighter. And we'll see what takes place when we get ready to open. Next slide, please. A view from the outside, you can see it's a very tranquil feel, very human scale. Not imposing, blends in beautifully with the area and the community. Next slide. And a view from a little bit further away. Ample parking, access, and again, the development, which I think you'll all be very, very proud of now and for generations in the future. Another closer look. Of the grandstands. Next slide. And now I'll turn it back over. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad, very much. Thank you, Kim. I wanted to be able to point out some things that I think are of interest to you folks. We're going to create the Coronado Jockey Club, and you can belong to the club. There are certain perks that come with it, and I think you'll like that. This is a private dining room, and members of the club can go, but anybody else can go if there's reservations available. Private lounge area or public lounge area where people can congregate and socialize. A neat concept. This is the grandstand facing the racetrack, and that works. But what I really like is right here are two glass doors leading out onto a terrace. And there we go. And this is the terrace right here. You can come outside and look down and the saddling enclosure, the paddock where the horses get ready, where the owners and trainers talk to the jockeys and strategize. And it's part of the pomp and circumstance of racing, and it's a positive and well received. You can go to the next. And this one, Brad, really got my attention. I like this a lot. What this is, of course, that's the amphitheater. We're going to have concerts. We're going to have events year round. Again, it'll drive people into the area. And then if we go tighter in on the facility, the building itself, I love the design, but this is what jumps out. Those three, I call them pods at first, but they're actually suites. large suites, if you look at the scale. And those people, group sales, the Coronado Jockey Club, catering throughout the season, people will bring them in, they can use it and we'll have good food, they can go to the casino if they want. And in addition to that, it's a wonderful opportunity for people to watch the amphitheater. So it'll be a high appeal, and I'm ready to get that started. I think it's going to be great. All right, we've actually covered most of this, the days of racing, live racing, who we are. But I want to touch it, and it makes it easy. One of the great assets that I felt about this whole thing was the people of Tucumcari. I'm sorry. These folks have waited 12 long years for this opportunity for new business, growth, jobs. It's needed, and they're all in. That's pretty obvious. So, members of the commission, this is Coronado Park, bounded on the north by Route 66, on the south by I-40, a really nice RV village that we're going to add, an 8-point bench center, a amphitheater, a casino, a racetrack, one-stop shopping. And beyond that, it's an incredible tourism opportunity that's going to benefit the entire northeast quadrant of northeast New Mexico. So we're ready. I think it's an exciting concept. I like it. I want to get busy, get started. We can do this. Commissioners, we have the expertise. We have the team together. I really need, you met some of them, committed to this project. And as much as anything, we have a built-in passion right here in Tucumcari that's going to carry us to the top. We're going That's what I'm talking about. Really happy for the opportunity to meet with you today. Available anytime you want to answer any questions you may have. But we're ready to roll, and I'm delighted to be here. Turning it back over now, I'd like for you to meet the gentleman who's going to be my counterpart on the human side. Very impressed with us. And Gary Hubner, if you would tell us about that aspect.
Well, I think she has a. Well, she's moving. I just want to say I've been in gaming for 30 years. Unfortunately, a lot of times when we do these things, we are not as well received as this. This is it's a much better feeling before I turn around and address the commission to know that people are enthusiastically behind you, roughly 100% of you. And as opposed to other times when I've turned my back and hoping that I live through it. So with that, I'll get on with my little speech, but you guys are awesome. Old man glasses, sorry. Hello, my name's Gary Hubner, and I've been asked to join the Coronado Park Racino project in order to form the casino management team. Also to assist in the construction and development section, as some of my experience, which I'll further describe, supports.
I've been in the business for 29 years with level 1 licensing attained in several states, including Nevada, Colorado, Mississippi, and in the country of Canada. I've held several executive management positions in these states, such as Vice President of Finance, Vice President of Gaming, Chief Financial Officer, Chief Operating Officer, Executive VP, Board of Directors member, and I'm currently the owner of a small consulting firm services firm, that does a lot of feasibility studies for projects just like this. I've worked in several states, and I really truly believe that has provided me the valuable experience in not only the different environments, but also culturally and competitively. If you look at where I've been to the hub of gaming, Nevada. Also been to the Deep South, Mississippi, quite a culture change when I went there, I must admit. And I've been to Canada. I don't know how many people in this room have been to Canada. It is different. The folks up there are very friendly, but it's a different country. Things are done differently up there. So I hope to use those experiences from a cultural standpoint to help us along the way in this regard. I've had involvement in a couple of properties from the beginning. The first one that we want to talk about is Shorelines Casino in Belleville, Ontario, Canada. They called me mid last year, and we agreed to help them out. They were at the time a little bit behind on their construction, and they unfortunately had only hired an HR director and needed 400 employees in 90 days. Not the best approach to take. Luckily, we worked really hard, and with a few good breaks, I was able to generate a management team that of the 18 management positions, 16 of them are still there a year and a half later. So we got really lucky, or I did really good, I don't know which. That was proved to be a really valuable source for Great Canadian Gaming, which is the largest gaming company in Canada. The property was estimated to do about $60 million, right around the same numbers as here. And fortunately for them, they've done about 15% above that in their first year. And their management team has done a great job. So congratulations to them. The other one that I was even more involved with, I was with Jumer's Casino and Resort in Rock Island for 13 years of my career. The last 5 was helping to create and develop a new casino. They were in downtown Rock Island, Illinois, struggling, and we secured some land and built a full-service resort at 200 rooms, 1,200 slots, 24 table games, 4 restaurants, a nightclub, etc. That property went from being third in a very 3-party competitive region called the Quad Cities in Iowa and Illinois. They went from being third in revenue to first in being revenue after completion in 15 months. Had a very, very good management team there too. We'd established a really good group, and many of them stayed with us a lot of my 13 years. So that was a very nice experience. Hopefully I can use some of that experience to help out the fine development people that we have here. And I like to be a casino person in numbers and keep an eye on those costs, overruns, change orders, things of that nature, not only in the casino, but also in the racing side as well. The similar projects that I've been involved with provide me, in my opinion, a very good opportunity to be successful in the build out and opening of this property. I've experienced the growing pains of a startup property, both from a construction and an organization perspective. And I feel I'm well positioned to be a major contributor during this period. Tying the racing part and the gaming part together will be a new experience for me, admittedly. I haven't done that yet, but I really look forward to it as a new challenge in my career. The operational plan from a gaming perspective will be to create an exciting, fun-filled experience for our customers, both with a friendly and responsive staff and an interesting and unique marketing program to enhance the entertainment value for all clients. In so doing, we'll be able to include the horse racing element, thus creating an even more complete experience during the racing season. I believe that Obviously, the racing part will be well supported. I believe that with the other events that David has planned in the racing sector, and the ability that we'll be able to promote from the gaming customers, those parts of our business will excel as well, creating more business for both sides. You'll get racing people that might come in and eat dinner. They might come in and try their hand at gaming. You'll get gaming people that might come in and try their hand at racing. So we're looking at both sides to improve each other. As for marketing and operational growth, the current plans include developing a really detailed bus program to encourage travel to our property. Bus patrons will receive a variety of benefits to potentially include free play on slots, food, cashback rewards for play, and availability to participate in any ongoing promotions, both in the casino and any promotions directly involved from the racing spectrum. A little bit of background in that, when I was in Colorado, we were located 50 miles from Denver, and we were at almost 10,000 feet up in the air, very cold all the time. But we developed a comprehensive bus program with the city, and we had about 12 buses every day that would show up, and it became a very, very important part of our business. We use those bus patrons from a perspective in that environment to truly generate additional gaming revenue, but also what we do with busing is it makes your place look busier. The bus patrons are generally not your biggest clients by far, but they're very, very true and they're very honest. When you combine busing with racing, you're going to even get a more dependable client. I believe those folks that would take the buses from the Amarillo area to come out for the racing, based on what I've seen here today from localized people from farther away would generally be very happy to hop on a bus and come out for a day of racing and potentially some gaming and potentially some food. So that's what we're looking for there. Independent groups such as churches, fraternal groups, specific companies, etc., will be a valuable component of our customer base. Specific programs to include their participation are also part of our plans. Soon we'll be investigating available billboard space along the I-40 route to attract vehicular traffic and make the community aware of our property and all the excitement that they can be a part of. The key to these billboards is not just to say, hey, there's a casino 60 miles ahead. The key to these billboards is messaging. So when we do billboards, they won't be bland. They will have actual promotions on them. They will have actual racing components to them. It will have the racing calendar and those types of things. Because there's nothing more boring than driving down the road, having lived in California and driven to Las Vegas forever, than seeing sign after sign that says, hey, this is Joe Blow's Casino, this is Harvey Haddock's Casino, whatever. Those are boring. You don't remember those until you see the next sign. So always messaging on signs, and we intend to be very aggressive in our opportunities with the billboards. I look forward to working and getting the opportunity to work with the Racing Division Management Team as well as David Vance, and including them whenever possible with the promotions. This will not only provide the obvious benefits to our business, but will further create the team effort that will be required of all. From a general philosophy standpoint, I've hired several management teams in my career, some better than others, but I hope to be able to count on the experience and the learning that's taken place to funnel the proper people to the proper positions. I intend to hire a management team that will include experienced individuals with the talent to develop employees and participate in decision-making positions quickly and effectively. Managers are only as good as their employees. If you hire a good manager, they're not afraid of an employee taking their job. They're counting on moving up as well. So that's why I try to get managers that always want to encourage those below them. These employees may come from surrounding properties, as well as some that have probably previously worked with me. Overall, the general philosophy of any operation that I'm involved with basically includes a management team and staff that are included in the day-to-day performance of the property. Specifically creating empowerment from top to bottom of all employees. This has proven to be very successful in my past experiences, and I plan to initiate this from the start. Employees of all positions will be encouraged to submit for promotionals and operational suggestions for improvement and be made aware of a complete open door policy to management. Employees will be made available and aware of all opportunities as they become open. Lastly, I look forward to working with the Gaming Commission and Racing Commission officers and the staff on any issues that may arise as the project forms and continuing during operations. Thank you for your time. And at this point, I'd like to hand it back to Alex Wayne from Innovation Capital.
Hello again, everyone. And earlier in the presentation, during my introduction, I touched upon I mentioned that we believe we can raise financing for this project. I'd like to touch upon why that is, give some more reasons. And as you all know, you've seen from these presentations, the pictures, the discussions had, that this is a wonderful project. It's a fantastic project. It will help the economy, help the town, help everybody in Tucumcari. And besides that, there are specific attributes we think that, from our perspective as an investment bank, and from lenders and investors that would help finance this project, as to why it makes sense and why they would want to invest in this project. The first one being the location. We all know that it's on Interstate 40, has a fantastic access, fantastic visibility from the project. All investors like to see that. They like to see that, this project that's out there, whether you'll see it, whether it's driving the road or destination visitors. Number two is the site. A large 337-acre site is humongous. We have enough space for a lot of future expansion, whether it be incremental hotel amenities, non-game amenities, RV park, what it may be. But there's plenty of space for future expansion and growth for the economy. Number three is the ownership. The ownership structure is mostly New Mexican. So that being said, it's very important for investors knowing that there's very strong local support behind this. In addition to the great town here that is supporting the project, there's local expertise, local services that can be provided, and local relationships. Number four is the projections. We've seen projections for this project, and the cash flows that we're seeing projected, we think will be able to service the debt service that will be needed for this project. Number five, not much needs to be said here, but the operating team. From Gary on the casino side, David on the racing side, they've shown clearly that they are very qualified to lead this project. And personally, I've worked with Gary on the Dreamers project, which you may see on the slides earlier, where we helped him raise financing and also sell the property. David, we're well aware of his experience at Remington Park and his other racetracks, and hold him in high regard. Number six is the competition, or should I say lack thereof. As I touched on before, there is no competition within 175 miles. I think that bodes well for investors getting comfortable with the projections related to this project. I think that these six attributes, combined with our expertise in raising financing, and also the fact that the current capital markets, they're very strong. Investors are looking to put money to work, and we think they remain strong. These three factors all meshed together leads us to believe that there will be no reasons or issues as to why financing cannot be raised for this project. And with that said, I'd like to turn the mic back over to Tom with some more details on the project statistics.
Like Alex said, to finance it, there's only three key ingredients, right? Location, location, location. And I think we have it. I think that we've seen this as a major project full of amenities, as you can see that's up here on the slides. I'm not going to read them all to you guys. You have a copy of them. The commission does that you'll be able to take with you. But Coronado Park, more than $65 million in development costs and 400 full-time jobs with $11 million in payroll and benefits. You look up there and for the commission, 1,100 stalls for horses, multiple. It just goes on and on. It's a first-class operation by far. We expect to be a regional destination entertainment draw with our market areas more than 100 miles. I think we've got 2 slides to show the market area, more than 100 miles where it's at. Depending on whatever level of competition that may develop, we'll have an average of 65 million of total revenue in our first year with 12 million in purses. That's gotta be big for the horse racing industry. So based on what I've seen from other applicants, those are highest numbers. I'll tell you why that is in a case of amendment. So we are projected to have $10 to $20 million of EBITDA annualized over the first 5 years, which allows us to pay our debt service and provide money for reinvestment into our facilities. It also allows us to pay distributions to the ownership, which includes our host communities. I think we have 2 slides on that. Why don't we have any competition for more than 100 miles? We are aware that some Oklahoma Indians are working on a project in the Oklahoma Panhandle located near Guymon, further from Amarillo than our location, and along the less traveled roads that go through various towns along well-policed drug routes. So still, it could impact our project. So our projections reflect that possibility, and the Clovis applicants should reflect that as well. So altogether, we are obviously connected to Amarillo via the interstate. I think you have several choices between several applications for this final application, a racetrack, casino license. I bet the other applicants will show that they have great projects as well. The racing industry, and I'm confident we can finance this as well as them and their projects. But there are some important differences that I hope that you'll consider in your selection process. The most important consideration is what is going to provide the most benefit. What one of these applications will provide the most benefit to the state of New Mexico? Isn't that what this is about? So why do the racetracks in Sunland Park, Zia Park, near the Texas border do so well? Out-of-state business provides more benefits to businesses that come from in-state and businesses that is not taken from other racetracks. So our racetracks, casinos is a net positive to the state of New Mexico. I'm confident that our project will bring the most net positive benefits to the state. I can show you by facts and figures. Some of the other applicants had their financial studies done like we did, and we can use some of them for comparative purposes. First, let's consider the level of competition of the other applicants. I think there's a slide for that. As we sit here today, we don't have any competition for 175 miles. But the Clovis applicants have 3 racetracks and Indian casinos. In fact, isn't the Clovis applicants have more than 1,500 slot machines that would compete for their business at Zia Park, Ruidoso Downs, and Inn of the Mountain Gods. I can't figure out where Lordsburg applicant is even planning to get their business. There are more than 4,000 slots and in Tucson, a big Indian casino and resort and golf course. Like I said, there may be small Indian casino in the Oklahoma Panhandle at some point in the future. But that would affect Clovis applicants the same as it would affect us. So where's the business coming from? I think there was a slide there. This might be too small for some of to see there, but there were 3-party studies prepared for the applicants, with ours and 2 from Clovis. They are instructive as expect nearly 80% of our business to come from Texas. And notably, just about 80%. And notably, just about 3.5% of our business will come from the local market. So the two Clovis applicants have studies that say they will get somewhere between 53 and 74% of their business from Texas. But where from? It seems that a lot of their business is projected to come from Lubbock. Lubbock is about the same market size as Amarillo. So Clovis is about the same distance as Hobbs is from Lubbock. While we project we will get virtually no business from Lubbock, the Clovis applicants project that about 20 million of their business will come out of Lubbock. But business from Lubbock is currently being split between the racetracks at Zia Park and Ruidoso. So while one of the applicants shows revenue including business from Lubbock, the revenue without business from Lubbock would be a lot less. So Clovis applicants are relying on business with Lubbock, which means their projections and revenues are taking business from the existing tracks at Zia Park and Ruidoso Downs and the Young Mountain Gods. Those venues all are paying taxes and revenue sharing to the state of New Mexico. So the net benefit to the state from the Clovis applicants are much lower than whatever revenue projections they show. So that's why I'm confident that our project will show the highest net benefit to the state of New Mexico. If I can find my place. With much higher net revenue than the other applicants, we can provide much higher benefits to the state and purses to the horsemen. I think that's what the commission also should be interested in, purses to the horsemen. Additionally, all of our jobs will be net new jobs to the state of New Mexico. With Clovis, a lot of their business will come from other racetrack casinos and Indian casinos. So the net new employment will be greater for Coronado Park than the other applicants. So we can demonstrate that we provide significant gross receipts, net new revenue, and employment to the state. And I'm confident that'll be much greater benefits than any of the other applicants that you'll review. This is because we have less competition, rely less on our local residents, and we will exploit new markets from Texas. So with that revenue, it's coming from people's spendable income that are traveling through New Mexico via the interstate and coming from Texas, and it's not taking the net income from its local community to support this racetrack. We have already shown that we have a great site we can develop into an entertainment destination. We can finance our project, very confident of that, and we are providing the greatest amount of net benefits to the state of New Mexico. So in addition to the third-party studies we've employed to help us project our business, we have employed New Mexico State Arrowhead Center to provide additional information regarding what our project will contribute to the state. But before I introduce Dr. Chris Erickson, by closing, I'm going to say, before I turn this over, I believe that all applicants will have a similar design and a build of a racetrack. I don't think one's going to just be outblowing of the others. But with that said, the decision should be made on basis of new net income to the state of New Mexico, new net jobs to the state of New Mexico, positive economic impact of a community, more so than any of the other applicants, I believe will change more lives in a positive economic status with this site and with this proposal. We have the most enthusiastic community of any of the applicants. So with all that said, I don't think there's any question, Coronado Park and its residents in this community, that they will be the partners of the best racetrack out of the six that are here. So anyway, at this time, I want to turn it over to Dr. Erickson on economics.
So I'm here to talk about the economic impact of the proposed track. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Well, I will say this while we're waiting for the slide to come up, that the way economic impact studies work is it takes into account both the direct and indirect effects of the proposed project. In particular, if you think about a racetrack, casino, that generates revenue. That revenue is used to pay salaries, it's used to pay suppliers, it's used to pay to generate profits for the owners of the racetrack, to generate revenue for the horsemen and the trainers and the owners who are participating at the racetrack. And with that revenue, what they do is they pay for the revenue generated, pays suppliers, employers, profits, etc. And that results then in income to the next level of participants, who then in turn spend that revenue. And so you have this knock-on effect, and so the economic impact is not just the initial building of the track and not just the initial operation of the track, but also this knock-on effect that ripples its way through the entire economy. But in calculating this impact, next slide please. In calculating this impact, it's very important that you take into account the attracting of out-of-state patrons. Now, you've already had this emphasized to you before by Tom. He did an excellent job, but let me reiterate that any revenue that is diverted from existing New Mexico businesses is, whether that's another racetrack or a movie theater or a car dealership or what have you, any revenue that's diverted from existing New Mexico businesses does not have a net economic impact on the state of New Mexico. And so in calculating my economic impacts that I'm going to show you here in a second, I was very careful to limit it to impact on business that's attracted to the state or retained by the state that would not have been had the racetrack not been here. In making this study, I looked at three different components of the market. I looked at the local market, which you see a map of here, and you'll notice that this local market includes much of Texas, and particularly Amarillo. I looked at the capture market from drive-by, and I looked at the overnight tourism. Turns out that the net impact, or the net amount of this business that comes from, that's new business that wouldn't have occurred without the racetrack, we calculate that to be just short of 80%. And so, if you look at the next slide, you'll see that the total revenue, gross revenue generated by the racetrack is projected to be 70 million, $70 million in the first year of operation and 80 million by the fifth year of operation. Now, this is gross receipts that will generate tax revenue as well as gross receipts for the people in the state of New Mexico. All these numbers refer to the entire state of New Mexico, including here in Tucumcari, but also spillover effects that affect other parts of the state. Earnings includes wages and salaries, profits, also includes some fringe benefits such as health care and expenditure on those kind of benefits. Earnings, the households in the area would be, in the state would be 50 million and almost 16 million in the first year and almost 18 million in the fifth year of operation. Employment. Now I want to talk for a second about employment. Now, these are jobs generated throughout the state, not just in Tucumcari, but it's expected that the racetrack will employ about 400 people, and those employees, it might be hard to get those employees here locally because the state that Tucumcari only has about 3,000 employees right now in Quay County as a whole, and you might think, well, is there enough unemployed people to fill all these jobs? And my response is maybe not. But what will happen, this numbers here assume that there's adequate slack in the economy to hire the people that you need to do this. But what will happen is if there's not enough employees available here locally, it'll drive up local wages. That's a good thing. This county has suffered a period of long-term stagnation. Employment in Quay County peaked in 1990 and has declined 35% since 1990. And so by having the racetrack here, there's no question, but this will turn around this economy, that this will have a major impact on the economy. And yes, you'll have to attract. You may have to attract employees from outside the area, but that's, again, a good thing. That'll drive up local wages. That'll benefit the people of this area, this county. We also have to talk a little bit about construction. I point out that construction goes over 2 years. The numbers I'm about to talk about with construction are 2-year numbers, not numbers for by year. And you'll notice that it's the expected impact on gross receipts for construction is just short of 75 million. That earnings are expected to be just short of 25 million. Again, earnings includes wages, profits, and also some benefits that are included in earnings. The reason I say some benefits is because it's not a comprehensive measure of benefits. But it includes, for example, healthcare that's provided by employers is included in the earnings. Next is value added of the track, and that works out to be about 43 million. That's the contribution of GDP from construction of the track. And employment will be about 560 employees. Again, that's direct and indirect, and again, that's spread over 2 years. Okay, with that, I'm going to turn over the mic. I really want to thank you for letting me have a chance to speak to you, and I really want to thank this fantastic crowd. Your enthusiasm is unbelievable.
Mr. Chairman, I am the last speaker. Obviously, I've got some issues with my voice, but I am the last speaker. What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the real advantages we think that we have over the competition, specifically Clovis. Before I do that, I want to just a little bit about myself and connections to Quay County. My great-great-grandfather homesteaded in southern Quay County in 1912. My great-grandfather was the chairman of the county commission when they built the courthouse in 1938. My mom, my dad, and my wife all graduated from San Juan High School. That's the home of the Mighty Coyotes, by the way. My dad was a district judge here for 19 years before he was appointed to the New Mexico Supreme Court. And I am a proud graduate of Tucumcari High School. The home of the Mighty Rattlers. I think it's important for you to know that because starting with Don Chalmers and now with Tom, it's always been important for us to have the New Mexico team and this being led by New Mexico people. But Tom and Don thought we needed to go a step further and have a Quay County person. And so for the last 12 years, I've had the honor and privilege of being that guy. And it's important from their perspective and everyone's perspective that we have somebody that kind of knows the lay of the land here. I've been known to be able to get 5 or 10 people out to a meeting when we have one. But also somebody that's looking out for the best interests of the county and the county residents and the communities. And I think that's important that we have that aspect, and I'm proud to be that person. I'm going to talk just briefly about a few things. First, the public-private partnership. This is the only application, and we've done this from day one. Don Chalmers was a stickler for this. He didn't want the communities to just benefit from tax revenues, which clearly they will. He wanted them to have a piece of the action. So under these circumstances, for the last 12 years and now currently with Tom, these 4 communities that are sitting up here, they have 5% equity interest in this casino. Now, they are not going to have, we're not charging them for that. We're not doing anything. 5% of the revenues annually are going to go to these communities. Now, that's somewhere between, depending on the circumstances, $500,000 and $1 million. Now, that may not sound like a lot of money, but I can tell you from San Jose's perspective, they can't afford a cop. So, you know, not that they need a cop in such a great place, but if they wanted one. So that's going to have a big impact on these communities. They're not going to have any say in the racing or any involvement in the application or the process, but they're going to get their cut, and we think that's important. Tourism, we've talked a little bit about Route 66. The last 10 years, the Route 66 tourism population, it's been incredible here. We've had people come in, buy these old hotels and fix them up, and it's a big deal not only in the United States, but really the world, for people to travel down Route 66. We have groups from Canada, Germany, Japan. It's incredible. And we've really had a bunch of great people coming into these hotels. One of the most famous is the Blue Swallow Hotel. The Blue Swallow has been named in USA Today as one of the top 10 most authentic places to stay in all of the United States. So I would recommend the Blue Swallow for your future travel needs. The other thing that we've got, for example, just this last month, Travel and Leisure Magazine identified Watson's Barbecue, that is an implement store / barbecue place, as one of the top 25 barbecue joints in all of America. Now, and you experienced that today, so you've got a feel for that. But there's 2 things that make that happen. One, you can certainly barbecue, obviously. But 2, there's so much traffic going through here. People are eating barbecue and they're saying on Yelp and all these different places, this is a great place to eat. And they say that about all of our hotels, all of our restaurants. And so Route 66 is an incredible value. Along those same lines, some of you have seen the Route 66 Museum here in the Convention Center. That's a completely volunteer effort by members of our community to promote Route 66. That's been in effect here for a couple of years. They've done a great job. But as part of Coronado Partners, what we want to do is we want to make the New Mexico Route 66 Museum part of our facility. We're going to give them a space out at the casino and the racetrack that's about 3 or 4 times bigger than that. And so what people will do, obviously, we draw them in, if not for the racing and the casino, we're going to get them in to the nostalgia about Route 66. We're going to have things about all of New Mexico, and in fact, Route 66 as a whole. And when they come, they're gonna eat a steak and maybe gamble a little bit, bet on the horses. So we think that's an important aspect of what we're doing. There's two other things, two other places that are very important, I think, to our application. Conscious Lake, which is Conscious Lake is located about 30 miles northwest of here. Ute Lake is located about 25 miles northeast of here. Conscious is the fourth largest lake in the state. Ute Lake is the third largest lake. Now, I was surprised when I got these numbers. People flock to those lakes from Colorado, Texas, Conscious, Albuquerque, Las Vegas during the summer. From March until Labor Day of this year, there were over 460,000 visitors to Ute Lake. There was 136,000 visitors to Conscious Lake. That's almost 600,000 people that none of these, no offense, Mr. Wayne, they didn't calculate that. They didn't put that into their calculation. That is money that no one has calculated. People are going to go to the lake, they're going to ski, they're going to fish, they're going to bring their families up here, they're going to go to the buffet or the restaurant, and then they're going to do a little gambling. We think that's an incredible resource that no one's really looked at. I want to talk a couple of things about Clovis for a minute. Got some of the best friends in the world that live in Clovis. They were my ex-friends, actually. When they hesitated when I asked them if they were supporting the Clovis track, that I knew they were not my friend anymore. But aside from that, we all know that a destination entertainment center like this, you got to have alcohol. People want to come and visit, and that's part of the process. That's part of the money-making ability. All three of the applicants for the Clovis track, all three of their spots that you're going to see in the morning are outside the Clovis city limits. It's wet in Clovis. It's dry in Curry County. All three of those spots, it's a risk. So if they're going to have alcohol out in the county, they're going to have to do one of two things. First, they're going to have to get the city to annex them, or two, they're going to have a vote of the Curry County residents that live in the county to make alcohol legal. Now, they may be able to do one or both of those, but is that something that you want to risk? Not knowing, giving one of those people a track. So I think that's important. The other thing the Clovis has a problem with, and it's a serious problem, and we're sympathetic to that, they don't have any water in Clovis.
Tell them where they were trying to get it, Warren. Tell them where they were trying to get their water.
We're not going to talk about where they're trying to get their water from. That's for another meeting. But this is Clovis and Tucumcari. The whole area is part of the Northeast Regional Water Planning Area. And what this slide shows you is the pink area is the Oglala Aquifer. And 100% of Clovis's water comes from that aquifer. And you can see above there the Tucumcari place. It's not in the pink, Tucumcari's water comes from 3 separate aquifers, none of which is built global. And so, what I want to do is just read the last sentence of this. It says, as water levels are increasing in many of the formations and only slowly decreasing in others, aquifer sustainability does not appear to be an issue in Clay County. We've got a lot of water. Now, the next slide, this shows the depreciation of the water levels in the different areas. This is based upon, I don't know how they do the water stuff, but obviously I'm very versed in all of the water things. The orange sites is Clovis in Roosevelt County. That's the area that has shown substantial depletion year after year in the Ogallala aquifer. And I'll read again if you'll allow me. It talks about the Curry and Portales underwater basins, that they're closed to new appropriations. This area has very limited saturated thickness and relatively high rates of water level decline. Life expectancy of the groundwater supply in Portales and Clovis are expected to be less than 13 and 20 years respectively. According to the analysis, there's no new sources of groundwater been identified. One of our competition, one of the applicants said, and I didn't realize this, 80,000 gallons a day it takes just upon the track at the races. 80,000 a day. And according to the study, they're not going to have 15 years, they're not going to have enough water for the restaurants there, much less to pour 80,000 gallons there on the track. Thank you. I was going to spend the rest of my time, about an hour, talking about the public support, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to ask anybody that's here that's supporting this track to stand up and clap. Mr. Chairman, I think that's a good place to stop our presentation. So that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Frost. This time we'll take a short 10-minute break. We'll return. We'll take public comment from those who have signed up at the entrance. We'll get back 3:20.
Hey, Richard, I got the phone. Hit all the right points. I wanted me to fill out a form. It's okay. You know this guy? Mario? Some of the nice guys. Put the center of the cloth.
If we get him out to the races. Whether it's your place.
There you go. How are you? Appreciate you coming. So yeah, I think you'll be good. How you doing, Mike? How's the new project? I bet, just like we have, exactly.
I bet you don't recognize you. I know it's like been a brief course.
What? Hey, I'm old, I live in Amarillo. You must be thinking of somebody else.
Yeah.
Because I didn't buy any briefs, I don't buy them. How are you? I'm sorry. You live here? Don't know her yet. But no, I'm not that really good. That doesn't happen very often. Yeah, some girl thought I was out with Nina, so I did my best to help her out. I live in Amarillo. Well, I hope it does some good. I got any problems? Well, hey, geography. We'll see. It works. It will. I hope. Hey, Sean. Mr. Chairman, these are not prepared enough. There's a lot of
Could everybody take their seats, please? Let's start.
I'm from San Juan, Teresa asked me a question. She is a super lady. Yeah.
Friends text me saying yeah, yeah. They said it's very clear. You can hear, you can see. It's very good.
Hello? We appreciate everyone's attendance. Got 1,140 people signed in. This time, we look forward to taking public comment on the application submitted by Coronado Park. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. We will call upon you to speak. When you're at the microphone, please state your name, for our court reporter. She gets you down good before you begin to speak. Laura, please come up for our first public comment.
Mayor Litchfield?
Yes. My name is Ruth Ann Litchfield. I'm the mayor of Tucumcari. And one thing I've learned today is the Racing Commission does not bite. We've all been afraid of you, and we're not afraid of you anymore because we think we're making a great presentation. Exactly 44 years ago today, and this is the honest truth, a young couple with a 2-year-old daughter and a dog pulled into Tucumcari to make it their home. Tired of the big city of Fort Worth and wanting to be closer to our families in the Texas Panhandle and Clovis, this family looked forward to life in eastern New Mexico. At that time, Tucumcari was much larger with a population of 8,000 to 10,000. There were 3 grocery stores, a booming downtown area, 3 trucking companies, an active railroad depot, and gas stations on every corner. And as you saw today, a lot has changed. I come before you today to ask you to think positive about Tucumcari and Quake County and to look at what a racetrack and possibly casino could do for our area. We have 2 lakes, which you've heard, Ute and Conchas, within driving distance. Our intersection, and no one's mentioned Highway 54, and it's very busy. But we have Highway 54 and Interstate 40, and of course Route 66, which is extremely popular for tourists all over the world. And 54 is full of trucks, believe me, because I sat at the light the other day and waited for 11 trucks to pass in just a matter of stopping at a red light. Gross receipt taxes from construction alone will be noticeable in our economy, not to mention jobs for our citizens, and I can see many advantages to our area. And yes, I'm sure there are disadvantages, but I still believe that the pros outweigh the cons. This part of our state has been ignored for way too long. And like the movie In the Field of Dreams, we believe that if we build it, they will come. Our young people will have a reason to stay and raise their families. I can see Mesa Lands Community College growing possibly into a four-year college. A variety of businesses starting up and or expanding, and the possibilities are endless. The city of Tucumcari has a project. We're trying to go to a Class 1A wastewater. It's reuse, and that will not affect our drinking and groundwater. Instead of just having water poured out on the ground, we will reuse it for a racetrack. Now, that young family that moved here 44 years ago, my husband eventually owned his own CPA business and was mayor until his death. I taught school for 31 years. Our daughter and son graduated from Tucumcari High School, and now I'm mayor. This is home, and although I wasn't born here, this is my community, and I love this community very much. Without them, a lot of the hard times would not. Thank you again for coming and listening, and I appreciate it, and I hope you think positive about Tucumcari.
Sue Dell. My name is Sue Dowell. New Mexico Racing Commission. On behalf of the Quay County Commission, we welcome you to Tucumcari and thank you for being here. Our Quay County Commission, made up of Mike Cherry, is here today, wave Mike, Franklin McCaslin and myself are in unanimous support for this racetrack in Tucumcari. I hope today's visit gives you a chance to soak in both the beauty of Tucumcari, Quay County, and the goodness of the people here. Our residents work hard to promote Quay County. They invest time and money to open businesses. They work hard to revitalize Route 66. They grow some of the best ag products and livestock that you'll find anywhere. They donate hours of volunteer time to our museums, to tourism, and to our yearly events. They bond together throughout this county to support our youth. Our citizens are supportive of the racetrack and are willing and capable to make this vision a reality. You visited our site this morning. You've seen our plan here. For just a minute, let your mind's eye imagine our plan at that location with its visibility to every traveler on Interstate 40 and US 54, and our ability to open up a new market draw with our Texas neighbors. Our bringing in new clientele will benefit New Mexico without harming other racetracks. Every person in this room knows there's an appropriate time and place for everything. Now is the time. Tucumcari is the place. We have a vision, we have a plan, we have flow-through traffic, we have resources, we have the best location. Your logical decision to locate the 6th racetrack here is best for us and best for New Mexico. Please give us this chance to execute our plan and to enhance and expand economic opportunities here. We will not disappoint. Thank you.
Mayor Babb.
Good afternoon. I'm David Babb. I'm the mayor at Logan. And first off, I want to say Warren stole my notes. It's terrible. But he was right. I talked to state parks, and our visitor count this year was 470,000. And you like it. I gotta believe you get 500,000 people milling about, a few of them are gonna come watch a horse race or maybe pull the handle on a slot machine. I am here today with my entire, whoa, I lost part of it, warranty board. I brought my whole city council or village council. And if my estimates are any good, about 1/3 of the population of my town. And we're all here to say we support this project. We need it, Clay County needs it. There's not a better place going. I've got 5 points I want to drive home, and I'll get out of here. First off, we have the location. The intersection of I-40 and 54. I've had 3 sets of numbers thrown at me, but the lowest is a traffic count of 16,000 a day. That's a lot of potential customers. We have the financing in place, as represented over here at this table to my left. We have the industry expertise in place. Again, these gentlemen have made that abundantly clear. We have the water to sustain what I understand is a really thirsty industry. Last but not least, we have the will. We have the want to, the drive, and the determination to make this work. Today to ask this commission and our governor to grant the 6th license to Tucumcari and Clay County. Let us work for the people of New Mexico.
You did that very well. No one ever says my name correctly. My name is Terry Schleiser. I'm the pro tem mayor for San Juan. And I was asked to speak kind of at the last minute. I just want to reiterate what everyone has said here. You as a commission have a wonderful opportunity. You can reestablish economic growth in an area of New Mexico that most people don't even know exists. If you look at your weather maps tonight when you go home and watch your news on Albuquerque weather, New Mexico kind of stops at Santa Rosa. Well, there's another 115 miles past Santa Rosa, and these people all live there. I also just wanted to mention, Route 66 has been mentioned many, many, many times. In the 10 minutes after our lunch today, I went over to the museum, and while I was in there, there was a couple from Spain who had chosen to take their honeymoon doing Route 66. I don't know what the big draw is from European countries, but there is. As that couple was leaving, 4 people came in from Scotland. So when they talk about net economic dollars coming into the state from Texas, y'all need to look at the net economic dollars that come into the state from the world, because they're looking at you know, they were talking about the availability of water and the availability of resources. No one's mentioned, I saw it on the slide very briefly, but we have some of the fastest internet in the state in Little Tucumcari, in Little San Juan. Because we have a fiber optic network that our co-op has put in place, thank you very much, Plateau, that allows us to do commerce at the speed beyond anything you're going to see anywhere else. Specifically, Lordsburg is still on dial-up. Just want to mention that. Thank you so
much. Chairman, Commissioners, I'm Patrick Vanderpool, Executive Director of the Greater Tucumcari Economic Development Corporation. I want to restrict my comments today just to the issue of workforce. I also am a board member of the Mexico Economic Development Partnership.
And that role has afforded me the opportunity to visit with national site location consultants. Those are the men and women who help businesses find locations to expand or relocate their businesses. And I've talked to them about the perception that New Mexico lacks a skilled workforce, especially in small towns. To address that perception, 3 years ago, we applied for and were accepted into ACT, American College Testing Organization, their Certified Work-Ready Communities program. 15 months later, we became a certified work-ready community, one of only 2 counties in New Mexico, the other being San Juan County. The program begins with assessments of the existing workforce. The workforce is broken into 3 categories: existing workers, emerging workers, those are new entrants into the workforce, such as high school graduates, and transitioning workers. Those are folks that are going from part-time to full-time work or unemployed to employed. And the 3 assessments that are given to those individuals deal with applied math, graphic literacy, basically computer literacy, and reading for information. Once you achieve those goals and take those assessments, you attain a National Career Readiness Certificate. One of the reasons that's important is that as of today, just shy of 22,000 employers nationally recognize that National Career Readiness Certificate. Now, ACT initially set a goal for us in Quay County of 110 NCRCs. As of the end of August, in Quay County, we currently have 342 individuals who have achieved that National Career Readiness Certificate. Thanks to the work. In fact, we've been so successful that on November the 28th and 29th, Tucumcari is going to host a regional boot camp for 7 of our surrounding counties to look at their opportunity to participate in that program as well. In addition, another set of numbers which I think are important to look at. As of the end of August, our unemployment rate was 5%, with 161 unemployed. Those are people who have filed for unemployment benefits. However, 150 job openings currently list with 3,487 candidates available for those jobs. And that's according to resumes that are active within the state workforce system. We still have a lot of work to do, but we believe we have a program in place that's going to help us address that. Thank you.
Chair and Commissioners, I am very grateful for the chance to be here. I'm the president of Mesa Lands Community College, which is a state-funded comprehensive community college just next door. We are very much interested in supporting this effort and its educational needs because it creates some wonderful synergies with programs that we have. We have a championship rodeo team. We have a world-class farrier program, which is truly unique across the entire globe, frankly. We have students that come from Europe and from Australia and others that have been trained right here in Tucumcari because of the excellent work here. And of course, you can understand the logical reason why we would have that history of involvement with equine sports and also with equine care because of the ranching and the farming that go on here. It's a natural thing. So I have a PhD in economics, and I appreciate my colleague from the Arrowhead Center speaking. And I would like to just take a high-level look at this and say that as you drove into Tucumcari, I hope that you noticed the beauty of the red rocks and the mesas and the truly unique landscape that people see as they come in from the east. those who have come from the Oklahoma area through winding their way through the wilds of the Midwest that is so lush and green and flat. Then they come here and they see John Wayne for the first time, okay? They see cactus, they see red rock mesas, they see cowboys having gunfights up on the rocks, right, et cetera, et cetera. And then you see the lakes that we have here. You see the opportunities to leverage one thing. Becomes, oops, something's on fire. No, it's not. Okay, that is from the fire chief's radio, so I was wondering. But you think about that, and you think about this as an important piece of an overall economic development and tourism mix. I have developed and worked a lot on consulting also with the casino and resort community. I provided, also designed and built and staffed and executed on the creation of hospitality management programs that were targeted for the Las Vegas area. And we've delivered on those promises so that, and I do understand them. And we as a college, we stand ready with business programs, with IT programs, with equine support programs, and with all of the other things that may come along with this as one thing leverages into the other. And I want to finish with this because I'm fairly new here, but I know that this is true. Tucumcari is not just a town, it's a team. These people believe in what is possible and they know how to execute. And I see the pieces here that are so very rich that this then will be another piece, and I think in fact it will be a catalyst that will kick this town in gear at a much higher level and provide a net win for the state of New Mexico. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, and members of the commission. My name is Timothy Rose. I'm the elected district attorney for the 10th Judicial District that serves Quay, Harding, and Abaca counties. I'm also, my wife and I were also born and raised here in San Juan, Quay County. We come from deep roots of generation after generation of family here. I've served and practiced law in the state of New Mexico for almost 20 years. I spent about the last 8 of that here at Tucumcari. Previous to that, I spent about 10 years in Ruidoso, which of course you know is the home of Ruidoso Downs Racetrack and Casino and the Mountain Gods, where I practiced civil and criminal law. Got to know the racing commission at that time and the racing industry through representations of certain clients, of owners and trainers and jockeys, both in the civil and criminal arena. I got to know, and you can see from living there, and as everybody knows, the importance of something like this to come to a small community. You can see it in all the communities. But I've also got the expertise and knowledge to see how law enforcement has handled those situations and know the unique law enforcement challenges that come with it. And so I want to address that briefly, that Quay County and Tucumcari is a unique place. This is a place, as you can see, where it's not just a bunch of strangers. It is a team. And law enforcement starts with neighbor looking after neighbor, friend looking after friend, and taking care of each other. But it also might surprise you that, in my humble opinion, and without hesitation and equivocation, that if you're searching out for the top law enforcement officers and men and women that are involved in the criminal justice system throughout the state, and I practice in just about every jurisdiction, you don't need to look any further than Quay County. Quay County has some of the most professional, most equipped, competent, hardworking, dedicated men and women that you'll find. Tucumcari is a safe place. I know from the law enforcement perspective that it will continue to be a safe place because these fine men and women will continue to serve and protect. It'll also, as you can probably see from visiting Tucumcari, that we're friendly. even to Texas. But, and we will continue to be that. And I can certify to you and tell you that without hesitation, the law enforcement community of Quay County stands willing and able and capable of handling any law enforcement challenge that may come from this Racino kind of town. Thank you.
Chief David Ludlow and Sheriff Rusty Schaefer, can you please state your name prior to speaking?
Good afternoon. My name is David Latham. I'm the chief with the Tucumcari Police Department.
My name is Russell Schaefer. I'm the elected Cook County Sheriff.
And Chief Rodney Paris, the Chief Logan Police Department. When I was asked to show up today, first of all, good afternoon. When I was asked to show up, they made sure to tell me to make it brief. It's not my strong suit. I'll try. The other thing that they asked me was to give you my impression of this project. I think everybody's going to do that today. I think it's much more important for me to give you some information so you can form an impression of the law enforcement people in this area. So I have three things that I want to tell you. And I'll let the other folks here speak about their agencies. But unlike the rest of the United States, the Tucumcari Police Department is a full staff. We have a full complement. In fact, when we have an opening, we have more applicants than we have openings. So we have a waiting list. Second thing, we've gone through a recent reorganization because of that fact. I have a new investigation unit. We are adding to that. That's going to benefit us whether this project goes forward. The third thing is that the department itself is already in talks with the city government about expanding. We've upgraded our equipment, our training, our personnel, all within the last year and a half. And that's how we're going to continue in the future. Bottom line for me, Tucumcari Police Department, we're ready. We're not going to be behind the curve. Thank you.
Law enforcement in Quay County is just like him. Logan Police Department is fully staffed. I have received lots of comments on break from a lot of people amazed about the number of visitors that Logan and Utlake bring in. In a way, that makes us an expert. We know how to manage 476,000 people a year in a matter of 5 months. The partnership that these three agencies have, along with state police, investigative bureau, the state police road patrol, is unbreakable. We train together, we meet, we work well with the DA's office to make this a safe place and this project successful.
Like Chief Latham and Chief Paris said, my agency as well is full staff. We work hand in hand with state police, Tucumcari City Police, and Logan City Police. And San Juan does have a police officer. They have it in Quay County Sheriff's Office. We are a tight-knit group. We work well together. I need help somewhere out in the county that's out of jurisdiction. I will call in Chief Paris for assistance. We're not above assistance. We're not above asking for help in the law enforcement aspect of that, which I think that this place could benefit greatly, benefit all who live and reside in Quay County, San Miguel County, who is here, and all points in between. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Greg Gosner. My wife Linda and I are definitely supporters of the Racino in Tucumcari, New Mexico. She is a retired elementary teacher, and I spent 35 years in the banking industry and retired as a community bank president for Wells Fargo. I currently serve as the board chair for Dr. Dan C. Trigg Memorial Hospital Trustees. The hospital is a Quay County-owned facility and is leased to Presbyterian Healthcare Services of Albuquerque, New Mexico. This affiliation with Presbyterian has been in place since 1978. The community has been very supportive of the hospital, and the last county gross receipts election for the hospital received a 93% approval rate. I would like to reiterate the following comments that were sent to the Racing Commission that were signed by Troy Clark, Vice President of Presbyterian Regional Hospital Operations, and myself. The hallmark of a strong community is a strong economic base that allows healthcare, education, and other community services to thrive. The Tucumcari community is deserving of strong and responsible businesses that further goal of being a model city for New Mexico. Dr. Dan C. Trigg Memorial Hospital is committed to improving the health of our patients, members, and community. The role of improving quality health care for the area is taken very seriously by this acute care hospital, with the only 24-hour emergency room staffed by physicians on I-40 between Albuquerque, New Mexico, and Amarillo, Texas. Economic development through business expansion initiative is critical to that commitment. Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, I'd like to thank you for allowing me to make these comments today before you.
Donald Adams, and Rex Scott.
Doug Hogan, Chief of the City of Tucumcari Fire and EMS.
Donald Adams, Quake County Fire Marshal.
Rick Stahl, Village of Logan Fire Chief.
Commissioners and Chairman, thank you for this forum today. First, I apologize for my radio disruptions earlier. I assure you it's off at this point. Tucumcari Fire and EMS is an ISO Class 4 department. We're currently working to improve our rating to a Class 3 at our next evaluation in this upcoming February. That will be for a small city, so we don't plan to stop there. I'm going to sound like a broken record after the police chiefs and the sheriff, but we're also at full staffing right now for fire and EMS with 30 firefighters and EMTs. That staff one station 24 hours a day. We also have one single apparatus. We're currently working to improve the efficiency of staffing and response, as well as planning for future growth and an increase in call volume. Numerous fire and EMS personnel are going through recruit and advanced levels of training to improve their capabilities. Several personnel that are certified as EMTs are in training to increase their certification level from basic life support to advanced life support, as well as several that plan to attend paramedic training within the next year or so. We would propose building a new station in close proximity to the racetrack that would be designed, equipped, and staffed to meet the needs of the racetrack, surrounding businesses, and anticipated needs throughout the city. We have a countywide mutual aid agreement in place with all fire and EMS agencies in Quake County. However, we are working to improve response agreements and protocols to meet the current and future demands. We're also working closely with emergency management for Quake County to revise existing and develop new emergency response plans for a multitude of incident types that may occur from man-made events to natural disasters. Grant funding to increase available resources to support these plans. Overall, our emergency services are progressive, well-prepared, and capable. We will work closely with agencies to meet any anticipated needs. Thank you for your time.
I'll give you a quick overview of the 9 county fire districts in the county. The county's 2,882 square miles. All miles are covered by volunteer fire departments. There's 16 fire districts in the county. There's approximately 200 volunteer firefighters. All the county departments are volunteers of men and women. We have 22 Class A structure engines, 39 brush trucks, 11 tankers, 5 rescues. We can carry 90,000 gallons of water on wheels, which is, we can just about handle anything that comes at us. We do have mutual aid, as he has brought up. 90% of our volunteers are made up of farmers and ranchers. And I think that's important in this racetrack. If something was to happen, these guys deal with horses every day. They know how to take care of them and get them out of a bad situation that it should arise. They're not scared of horses. They can handle it. It's neighbors helping neighbors in the volunteer part of it. We'd like you to be our neighbor. Our greatest asset, I feel, in Quake County is our people. They're strong, they're ready to go. We appreciate your time. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, Commission, thank you for being here today. The city fire chief and the county fire marshal and I talked a little bit before, and pretty well we're going to talk on the same points. So I just want to say thank you for being here and want to voice my support for the project. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Robert Lopez. I would like to welcome you to Quake County. My name is Robert Lopez, as I stated. President of the Board of Directors of Arturley. Arturley is the conservancy district that delivers water from Conchas to approximately 41,000 acres of farm ground in Quake County. The farmers of Quake County are known for producing some of the finest horse quality alfalfa in the state of New Mexico. Also, the farmers look forward to taking care of any waste product that the horses may produce. We greatly look forward to that. As president of the board, I would like to say that the staff and management is in full support and look forward to helping in any way. Thank you.
Morning, King, Dr. Janet Ledoux, and Scott Osborne.
Aaron McKinney, Superintendent of Tucumcari Public Schools.
Janet Radu, Superintendent at San Home.
Scott Osborne, Vice President of the local school board.
Good afternoon, Commission. Warren came to me, I believe it was last week, to put some numbers together. Our enrollment's been declining for the last so many years. I mean, since I've been, this is my 14th year, going on my 14th year as superintendent. It's kind of scary when you see that enrollment going down. 5 years ago, I finished a $23 million project. It was a high school and renovated the gyms and everything at the high school. Our elementary school, by square footage, is the biggest elementary school in the state of New Mexico. That's how much square foot we have. So right now, our current enrollment is 977. That was as of yesterday. The numbers I'm going to give you aren't off the top of my head. They come from PSFA, Public Schools Facilities Authority. Right now, we currently have 464 students at the elementary school. We have the capacity for 641. Tucumcari Middle School, we have 228 students. We have the capacity for 503. At THS, we have 285 students. We have a capacity for 567. That's 734 students that we could add without new construction. We're ranked number 3 in the state of New Mexico, our district is, on the way we buy PSFA, and you can look at those numbers, you can get them off their website, on how we maintain and take care of our facilities. So all the square footage I'm telling you about, it's ready to move in, and we did get that influx of students. So I think that's all I can say. Thank you.
I'm Janet Radu, Superintendent at San Home School District. My husband and I moved here from the state of Illinois about 3 months ago. We were drawn here for the climate, the people, and the culture. San Home houses about 145 students, K-12. It's a very small, very rural district. With an influx of jobs, also creates an influx of families. The influx of families, it creates an influx of student population for me. With that increase of student population means I can hire more staff, which means I can now offer more courses to students, can offer fine arts and foreign languages, which creates graduating students that are not only ready for the workforce, they're ready for a college and career, they are also better American citizens because they are more rounded because of the coursework that we're able to give them. So having this Racino here creates more opportunities for my 3-year-olds all the way up to my graduating seniors. Thank you.
The Logan School Board has a resolution. Whereas Coronado Partners LLC is in the process of making an application to the New Mexico Racing Commission and the New Mexico Gaming Commission for license to operate and the Coronado Park Racetrack and Casino to be located in Quay County, New Mexico. Whereas the establishment and operation of such a venture is likely to have a positive effect on the economic future of all public entities in Quay County. And whereas the Logan schools stand to gain student enrollment due to the increase in the area's population. Whereas the Logan schools stand to gain increased tax revenue due to the anticipated rise of the property values. The strong support to be given to this application submitted by the Coronado Partners. The Logan School Board supports the application that they're putting in. Thank you.
Good job. How y'all doing tonight, or today? I want to introduce the commissioners that serve on Tucumcari. Y'all met the mayor, Ruth Ann Litchfield, Commissioner Gutierrez, Commissioner Moya, and of course our city manager, Britt Lusk. I'm Mayor Pro Tem Todd Duplantis. Like the mayor, I wasn't born here. I was adopted. So this is 1,100 of my brothers and sisters. I'm not going to try to hit on everything that everybody else has already been doing because y'all heard that. But we did miss one road. We got 104 that comes from Conscious. And it passes through here heading to that other place called Clovis. I'm going to reiterate, we've got plenty of water for this resource. We got plenty of resources like the water. We also have liquor. So that's going to help out with our casinos. When it comes to the foreigners that come in through from Europe, Japan, China, I've got supporting documents to prove that these people do come through here. You walk into my restaurant, I've got 1,000 bricks that have been signed from people literally from all over the world. And none of them knew who Clovis was or where Lordsburg was. True story. Tucumcari is actually famous in Norway. They actually plan on stopping here. We've got bikers from New Zealand, from Australia, Austria, Germany, that actually plan on stopping in Tucumcari because we're considered the gateway to the West, and I tend to agree with that. When it comes to talent in here in Tucumcari, New Mexico, we've got plenty of construction workers. We've got retired individuals that are willing to do the greeters. We've got individuals that dishwashers. We've got a few pizza makers. We've got the talent that can support this. We might need to bring more people in, but like the mayor says, we build it, they will come. This will not just be an economic change for Tucumcari, Logan, Conscious, and San Juan. This is going to be a lifestyle change. It's going to mean better health care for us, things that we couldn't afford. We'll be able to get more teachers. The revenues for the cities will help us be able to do repairs that, because we were such a large infrastructure years ago and we've shrunk, we'll be able to catch back up with that and make it more appealing. I'm not going to keep on. I'm just going to leave you. I know when y'all sit down together and try to decide this, you're going to be thinking, why Tucumcari? Why not? Thank you.
Hello, my name is David Brenner. My wife and I moved here from Dallas about 4.5 years ago to resurrect one of those buildings that one of the other presenters talked about. Roadrunner Lodge Motel, brought it from the dead, and we quickly became supporters of the community. I have a few other roles too. I have the honor of being the chair of the local Tucumcari Lodgers Tax Board. And I also sit on the New Mexico Route 66 Museum Board of Directors, which I am representing today. This museum, which is just out these doors, turn right, and you can see it. We have 5,000 square feet of exhibit space. It was opened in 2013 with a small collection of New Mexico's Route 66 historic memorabilia. We don't spend much of anything on marketing, and we still draw several thousand visitors per year. I think our marketing budget is around $200 a year. This space that we have now has become quite crowded. We have a lot of items on loan, and the museum itself has acquired many of the exhibits. Promoters of the Racino, as we heard earlier, stated they want to make available 3 to 4 times as much space for the museum. The area used today is possible only because of partnership with the city of Tucumcari and support from the Lodgers Tax Board. By providing the space, the Racino promoters have shown a commitment to the community by looking for ways to add value to the local community and local economy beyond just the Racino operations. I think that's been well represented many times over. The museum has received the support of many other organizations in Tucumcari as well. These include, but are not limited to, the McMullen Foundation, the Tucumcari-Quay County Chamber of Commerce, the Knights of Columbus, many years of the Rockabilly on the Route Festival, and next year's Rock and Route 66 Festival, Tucumcari Federal Savings and Loan, the Wheels on Fire 100 bicycle race, which just happened last weekend. Those have all been supporters of the museum. It is completely volunteer run today, and the board is also a volunteer board. An expansion of the museum space opens up opportunities for us to bring in a qualified curator and a full-time operator for the museum's artifacts, displays, and the gift shop. The New Mexico Route 66 Museum Board of Directors is wholeheartedly in support of building a Racino in Tucumcari. Thank you.
Thank you very much. According to this list, I'm the last person. So I hope that it's not the least that you hear today. I live out at Conscious Lake. We are not incorporated, but we brought pictures, so I hope you'll take a look at them. We're very proud of the area we live in. And as mentioned earlier, we have over 136,000 visitors to our lake every year. And I want to assure you, we have the same enthusiasm as those folks living in Tucumcari for the development of this racetrack and Racino. I wrote a letter to the commission a week or two ago, and I was reminded, I worked in Santa Fe years ago for the state. One of the best memories I had was my boss, who was the secretary of a very large state agency, and I would head out to Santa Fe Downs on Friday evenings, and it was a great time. And I developed a real enthusiasm for the horse racing industry. And I would want to reiterate that to all the visitors that we have at Conscious. We are fairly short, unlike you, on facilities such as hotels, motels, restaurants, and those people have to go somewhere. And we would like to send them to Tucumcari to enjoy the benefits of a Racino here, and particularly the horse racing industry. The commissioner mentioned a few moments ago about Highway 104. It's not talked about much, but it is the major thoroughfare between Las Vegas and Tucumcari. Conscious Lake is on that highway, and it's hardly a day that when I drive that road that I don't see cars from Colorado and Texas. It's the main thoroughfare. It's almost like a shortcut to get from one interstate to another. So we're excited about this opportunity, and we're grateful for your coming to hear us, and we thank you for your attention today.
Ron Gutierrez.
Ronnie Gutierrez. Linda Gutierrez. Jesus Sena. Karen Elkhorn.
All right, I'm on the list. My name is Karen Alarcon. Good afternoon, Chairman and Commissioners, and everyone in attendance today. We rock. I work for the local radio station here at Tucumcari, Majestic Communications. It is owned out of Roswell. And I would like to express what having an opportunity like this is not just for the radio station, but our whole community. It's just totally huge. You just don't realize. Now, this is my perspective of how I view the support we have the racetracks coming here. Everybody, you've seen the movie Rocky. You know that, right? Everybody raise your hand, you know Rocky. How many times have you seen it? The Coronado Partners, our community is like the eye of the tiger by Survivor. You're familiar with the song, right? It sounds a little bit cheesy, I know, but I thought of this morning, thank you. Okay, so I moved here the summer of '78. I-40 was still under construction. I witnessed this town with people everywhere. After I-40 opened, guess what? Our town kept the lights on. We were still here. We're survivors. I changed the words a little bit to the song, and I'm not gonna sing it, okay? Rising up, back on the street, did our time, took our chances. Went the distance, now we're back on our feet. Just a town and our will to survive. So I implore you to make the right decision. Coronado Partners has worked very hard. They've hung in there 12 years with our community. We are survivors, and we hope you make the right decision by choosing Tucumcari. And by the way, I did own a racehorse by accident once. Thank you very much.
Jose A. Trujillo. Julia Ruiz. Daniel Garcia. Yvette Brazil. Charles Krause.
Hi, I'm Chuck Cross. Started the cheese factory in 1995 here, especially cheese factory. Tucumcari was advertising in the cheese papers that they wanted a cheese factory in 94, 93. I showed up and bought the old Coca-Cola bottling plant. So we invested a lot of money into it recently, and a lot of money for me. But, so I'm committed to this town, and I got family here, and my employees are like my family. I'm a cheesehead. I grew up in Wisconsin. I'm from Green Bay, so I know what the Packers did for Green Bay. And I know what this Racino can do for Tucumcari. It would make all of our lives better, and most importantly, the young people would stay instead of trying to run away and go to a big city where there's more to do. So that's all I got to say. But I know what the Racino would do for this community, and it would be great. So,
Mike Morgan. Richard Dahl. Oh.
Good afternoon. Unfortunately, I'm here more to address the audience than to address the commission. But I would like to give everybody the opportunity. I don't know what else to call it. Opportunity is not quite accurate, but allow people to think about this thing from a different perspective, quite honestly. And I have not heard anybody say anything about the negatives that will come with this stuff. And I know that nobody wants to talk about those negatives, and I understand that. And I don't really want to talk about them either. But there is a negative side that all of us need to be aware of. What I want to do is I want to look at this from a different perspective, and that's from a spiritual perspective. And I know I'm already getting hecklers back here, and that's fine. I really think we do need to consider the spiritual perspective of all this thing, the spiritual circumstances that we find ourselves in, and that we may, unfortunately, be even worse than. I am a member of this town. I live here myself, and I am committed to this town as well. And I know that we all need money, and we all need income. That's the way this world is set up. I understand all that, especially since I've been recently unemployed. I understand it as well as most people, if not all. But I'm wondering how much prayer has gone into this and how much has been lifted up to the Lord. And I know that most of the people in this room have heard that the love of money is the root of all evil. That's not quite accurate. It actually says the root of all kinds of evil. It's not all evil. And that's all we've been talking about tonight is money, money, money. You know, like I said, I understand we need it. But I think we need to be very careful about introducing and encouraging the root of all evil into our backyard. It's already here big enough, it's strong enough, and we need to consider that. I appreciate your time.
Amen. Richard Dahl.
Good afternoon, my name is Richard Dahl. I'm a retired guy. I didn't put on my three-piece suit this morning because I had to work with a shovel all morning, but I wanted to come here and provide some support. My wife and I moved from a small area called the San Francisco Bay Area to an even smaller place called Logan, New Mexico in about 2011. And I thought it'd be a nice, quiet little place, you know, population of about 1,000 people, maybe a little bit more or less, depending. And I blame it all on David Babbs over here. I didn't know that on a weekend in the summer we could have 30,000 people in town. Or try 40,000 people in town. Or 50,000 people in town. With license plates from Oklahoma, from Texas, from New Mexico, from Kansas, and from Colorado. People coming through from Minnesota just about every day. I don't know where they're going. I think they're going to Arizona or southern New Mexico. But the resources that we have in that very small town, supermarket, I call it a supermarket, gas stations, more than one, automotive repair, automotive parts, many different types and kinds of restaurants, social club, and churches. You would not have that in a town of 1,000 people unless you had the influx that we have in the summertime with people coming to enjoy eastern New Mexico and Butte Lake. So I want to say that with those kinds of resources that we find in Logan, what would a Racino, what kinds of resources would that bring to Tucumcari? I think it would be a wonderful thing for Tucumcari. And if you're thinking about one of David Vance's slides referred to regional draw, well, I think 50,000 people in a town of 1,000 people. Consider what that would be for a town on Interstate 40 and Highway 54. Thank you.
Chuck Valverde.
Michael Williamson.
Good afternoon. May I approach sorry about that, Michael Williamson from Holiday Conoco. May I approach the commission to give you some sheets? I work at a gas station on the east end of town. The only real gas station on Tucumcari Boulevard. We are also the only place on Tucumcari Boulevard that has public restrooms, which is the main concern for a lot of other things. Anyway, the sheets that I handed up to the commission is my own little traffic survey at my little gas station. Every one of those days is the day that I worked, 10-hour shift. And those are the different states that came through. Also did not include the motorcycle tourists that come through. Sometimes they are 45 deep from all different countries. And I do believe that with their stay overnight at one of our many motels, they would like to get out and do something for a nightly entertainment. And this is hopefully something that I could lure away, or not lure, show you that Clovis will only be New Mexico and Texas plates. Raton, Colorado, New Mexico. That one's neither here nor there anymore. Look at all those states and look at all the different people that can enjoy Tucumcari. Thank you.
Steve Morgan. Victor Hart.
You know, I'm really excited to get to address this audience of somewhere between 1,000 and 10,000 people. My name is Victor Hart. I'm from Conchastam, New Mexico, and also a gaming manager at our local American Legion Post 19. So what I wanted to do to come to this place today is to be in support like these thousands and let you know that it's very important that we get this casino here for an assortment of reasons. I had no idea that we had such great support, all the way from law enforcement to waste management. It's just, it's incredible. I mean, if I were on the commission, I'd be going, okay, we got that as a wrap. So one of the area, my talking points are already taken, except for I want to add some emphasis to one particular item. I used to have traveled across the state down I-40. And on I-40, if you drive from here to say Albuquerque, as I did, I just played little games out on the border and counted tractor trailer rigs. In 1 hour, I would count up to 400 tractor trailer rigs. I don't know where this count of 1,600 per day came from, but that amounts to, if it sustains throughout the day, almost 10,000 tractor trailer rigs every day. Now, also in my travels across the state, I would see casinos with a bunch of tractor trailer rigs parked at them. So the casinos, most of you probably know that a truck driver is required to have some downtime. they don't want to sleep the entire downtime. So they pull into these casinos, in our case, casino, and they have some activities, something to keep their mind occupied and get a little bit of sleep too. So I would encourage our engineers to accommodate truck parking as well. And so that's pretty much all I had, and thanks again for your consideration.
I'm here and I want to call. My name's Joel Wolfson. I live in Amarillo. I had decided that I really cared about this, primarily because I'm a good time kind of guy, and I'm not going to drive to Clovis to go to race horses. I kind of thought that this meeting was going to happen when all these fine people got off work. But I called a friend of mine who lives in here. He said it's at 1:30 in the afternoon. I went, holy smokes, looked at my watch. It was 12:20 in Amarillo, okay? I got in my truck and I got here with 15 minutes to spare. And when somebody says there's 16,000 cars a day on I-40 going through here, I beg to differ. From reliable sources in Amarillo, I have heard there's 50,000 vehicles a day going through Amarillo on I-40. Okay? So, we all know that every business, and that's what this Racino thing is a business, needs one item: customers. Your inexhaustible supply of customers is 1 mile to the north. All right? I-40, it never, ever stops. I'm in the commercial real estate business in Amarillo, and I get astronomical prices for my properties. Prices I cannot believe. And people tell me it's because of I-40. Okay? So, you've got a lot of reasons to come here. Number one, you've got Route 66, I-40, and US 54 all meeting right here. Okay? That's a big, big, big deal. All right. Secondly, you're 175 miles away from the next closest Racino, so people that are coming here are probably not going to go to another Racino that's way far away. I know I'm not. But I will come over here and spend money and have a good time. All right? I'm all in favor of this deal. I'm saying, if you people want to stand up, let them know it.
John Anderson.
But I guess that 10-minute break began to feel like about 3 days ago. Thank you for being here today. I'm Tom Anderson. I'm a resident of Tucumcari. I moved here in 1974, which means I wasn't born here, so I chose to be a Tucumcari resident. We are, and I'll like this, in favor of this Racino bid. And we hope that you'll give it every consideration. I'm amazed at how well the Brock Commission has put their data together for you. There only been one thing that I really thought we needed to point out. I'm sure all of you know that from time to time we are short of irrigation water from Conscious. This is not where Tucumcari gets its potable water. It's groundwater. So what happens to Conscious, we regret sometimes, but sometimes if you look around, we have beautiful crop growing right now. Plenty of feed for horses, plenty of feed for the Racino, and plenty of good people right here to serve you. Dr. Block, I think we need to have the challenge here of making a quadruple crown. Crown winner. So we just will have a quadruple crown, absolutely. We are in favor of it. Make your job simple and just choose to compare.
Gary Lozano?
My name is Gary Lozano. I'm a local dentist, and my wife and I own Tucumcari Thoroughbred. We love our horses, and that's my favorite subject is horses. And we haven't heard much about that today, but I realize that as far as the commission is concerned, that as much as every one of you would want to do something great for Tucumcari, your first obligation is to the horsemen and the horse breeders of New Mexico. You know, and the horse breeders know that there are some difficult times ahead for horse racing in New Mexico. The number of breeders are declining, the number of mares bred are declining, and we're kind of at the bottom of the food chain. So we're just like all the other breeders. We're hands-on. We do everything. I do everything to raise our babies. And so at this point in time, I feel like Tucumcari is the best place for the horse breed. I think a lot of the breeders around the state are so busy involved in their own projects and their own efforts that they don't really know where we're at, and they don't know the economics of what we have to offer. And so hopefully they'll be informed more. And I look at this as it's a business decision. And we're so excited about another track because having more race days available, more purse money available, I think we'll see an increase in breeders in the state. And where I think we're suffering is our small-time breeders. The people that want to breed 2 or 3 mares are getting left out because of the economics of it. And so it's not just another track. We need the best track that we can do. And that's really all. Everybody else is the economics that we have here. We have a lot to offer. I really want to thank Warren. I'm just so impressed with the group of people that he's put together. I keep offering him he hasn't taken one yet. We may have to name one after him. We started with half of a claiming horse 15 years ago. Today we have 2 stallions and more mares than I care my wife to know about. We've been really rewarded with our lives have been changed because of horse racing. Financially rewarding, but not so much. It's a capital intensive venture, and so we need what's best for horse racing and for the horsemen. Thank you.
Welcome to the commission. I'm Jean Corey. I own the Tucumcari Animal Hospital. I just want to let you know that the community is behind this project, and we will do all we can to support you in every way and get a car or what's needed to help you out. Thank
William Asher? Billy E. Jones. John Barrett.
My name's John Barrett. Moved here in 2012 and pastor at the Center Street United Methodist Church. My wife and I are not too far away from helping somebody else to come and do that. We're going to retire, and we plan to retire here. I find it a great community. Presentation today was absolutely stunning. But I like the other brother earlier. I think the 2 or 3 things we have really to talk about. My wife has a brother who is in the Louisville Police Department. And she sent him an email and asked him some questions. That if a casino or racetrack were moving in, what would you recommend? He said require the commission to pay for all the new police officers we're going to need. But Warren told us that 5%, whatever it was, we're going to come back to the community. And I think that 5% will pay for the police officers and for gambling addiction counseling and centers and for child welfare needs. Those are some of the things that the community needs to think about. And maybe the 1,100 that were here today will show up at their churches and give extra money so the churches can hire more staff to help deal with a lot of the needs that's going to be showing up. Thank you.
Albert Arreaga. Connie Castro. Luis Najera. Donna Garcia. Robert Park.
Since I'm the last one, I'm trying to get this in fast. There was one thing, Skip, about all this presentation, is that most owners and jockeys, they fly in with their Learjets. And we have an airport that has a nice runway, it's long, it's really good. My golly, if they can do it in NASCAR, my golly, they can do it here. And we're ready, and believe it or not, from the airport to where they proposed this site is less than 20 minutes. Now you tell me, how can Clovis do that? They have an airport, but it only can take microclips as far as I know, unless the Atlantic can.
Very good. Mr. Frost, do you have anything further to bring before us this afternoon? Otherwise, I'm gonna go to that airport and see where it's at.
No, thank you for your patience, and we really appreciate you coming and participating.
Very good. I didn't need a motion to close. Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carried unanimously.
Nice meeting you, man. Yeah, good to meet you. Okay, we'll see you around here again, huh? Keep us in mind. Okay, good. You both are really right. All right. This is such a great car. All right. I'm glad you made it. Tucumcari.
Yeah,
You got a business card?
it's not on me.
Well, what's your name then? Huh? That way I can tell my friends I met you.
I'm Ismael Trejo. I go by Izzy. I'm the director of the Racing Commission.
Izzy?
Yep, you go on our website.
All right.
I don't know if you know Ariza over here. You own the hotel, the guy with the beard. Yeah, he's a friend of my family.
Oh, okay.
Sold his hotel here.
One more time.
All right,
Welcome,
brother.
man. Thanks.
Thank you.
Mucho gusto.
Igualmente,
Okay.
gracias.
Cuidado, hombre.
Órale.
Have a safe
Adelante, gracias. Bye bye.
We didn't play you, did you?
I just sent you an email a second ago. Just to ask if you have your IT guy put the applications up. But I think I'm gonna head to the site right now and then head over to the office and pick up my stuff. Okay, thanks. Wow, that was a marathon. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it was great. Like, really, I've been to so many of these, and I have never seen something.
Easy. Okay, my friend. Hi. Oh, hi, nice to meet you. And your little baby. Oh, that's so cute. Yeah, nice to meet you. Yeah, thanks for coming out and supporting the project here. Yeah, I think it's gotta love it. What else can you say? Great support.
I'll come by and visit you up there.
Anytime. Hey, good to see you.
Okay, take care.
Hi, David Izzy Trejo. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Good work.
Thank you. Thank you. Are you affiliated with the commission or are you?
Yes.
Are you going to be doing this again tomorrow?
In Clovers. Let me turn this off.
Okay.